program itself is very research-based, so I was looking for something to do in the summer, and then we got this email about virtual reality, and that caught my attention because I've never thought about it in a practical way. I've always thought about it in games and all that sort of stuff. So that was interesting to me, and then I saw the 4 different projects that were offered, and so my project is building a VR helicopter so that the Children's Hospital transport team can use it to train. And I thought that was a really interesting way to use virtual reality, and that's what got me into it. My eureka moment was so initially my character sits in a helicopter and they're in a confined space, but they weren't able to move around. And when I finally got the rotation going so that they moved around, and it moved around according to what the person was doing in real life, I feel like that was my eureka moment, because I was finally able to see what I'd built. Because over the months before that, or the couple of weeks before that, I was working on actually building the models and all of that, and you don't realize how realistic it looks and how actually kind of paid off until you see it in virtual reality, and I feel like that was really cool. Well, what's next for me? Okay, so about this project, I'm actually going to continue it in fall, because so this summer has been more about building the actual helicopter, making the interiors, adding the equipment, so that we have everything that the staff needs to use, so they can train in it as medical professionals. And my next step would be to actually make the simulation so that we have a sick child and he's seriously, he needs attention, and then the person who's playing the game would need to make decisions on how to treat the child, and then eventually they would be told how well they did, what they forgot, how they could improve, and that would be my next step. In my life, computer science plays a huge role, because initially, when I was coming into the Bioinformatics program, I had no idea what it was. I had no prior exposure to computer science. I just applied to this program that looked sort of cool, and I was like, let's see where I go with it. And within the first 2 weeks, I was in love with computer science. And so my future does involve, hopefully, medical school. Those are my future dreams. And even though a lot of people tend to apply third year, I personally don't, just because I really want to complete this degree. I really, really love it, and I want computer science to be at least a minor part in my future. So that's my personal take on computer science. And the role computer science has on the world, I would say it helps the world progress in a lot of ways. It's a very broad category of different, very different subjects, right? And it's progressing really fast, so that if a few, say 2 decades ago, I could not have built what I did in 3 months. There was no way that was going to be possible. And I expect 2 decades later, or probably sooner than that, it's going to be so much better. For example, if I left my project where it is right now, and I come back next summer for it, I wouldn't be able to even run it the same way, because the technology upgrades so fast, and you need to really keep up with it. And I feel like it says a lot about how humans tend to progress, about how fast they move, and I feel like it's very reflected in computer science.